In 1997, a sound rose from the depths of the Pacific Ocean, and no one could explain it. Not the scientists who recorded it, not the engineers who built the equipment that captured it, not the analysts who spent years trying to understand it. It was louder than a blue whale, louder than anything biological should be capable of producing, and it came from a place where nothing should be alive. This is the story of the bloop, and of the strange and disturbing world of sounds the ocean should never make. Let us go back to the beginning. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the NOAA, had a network of underwater microphones spread across the Pacific Ocean. Hydrophones, originally built during the Cold War to listen for enemy submarines. In the 1990s, the technology had already been repurposed for science, to listen to the ocean itself, whales, earthquakes, volcanic activity in the depths below the waves. The system was sensitive enough to detect sound across thousands of kilometers. And in the summer of 1997, it captured something it had never captured before. A sound so powerful that it was recorded by multiple hydrophones, separated by nearly 5,000 kilometers. Let that sink in. 5,000 kilometers. For a sound to travel that distance underwater and still be clearly detected, it needed to be extraordinarily loud. Loud enough that if it came from an animal, it would make anything known to science seem small. Louder than a blue whale, the largest animal that has ever existed on this planet. The scientists gave it a name, something almost playful, almost harmless. Bloop. But there was nothing harmless about what they were seeing. When the audio was sped up, compressed to become audible to the human ear, it sounded organic. A deep, rising groan, almost like something breathing, almost like something calling. And for years, no one could say what it was. Cryptozoologists had fun with it. Some suggested it was a creature unknown to science, something enormous, something living in the crushing darkness of the deep ocean, unclassified, undiscovered, never seen by human eyes. It sounds absurd, except the ocean has done this before. For most of human history, the giant squid was considered a myth, a sailor's legend, something from folklore, not biology. Then, in 2004, researchers photographed one alive in its natural habitat for the first time in recorded history. An animal up to 13 meters long had been swimming in our oceans the entire time, completely unnoticed. So when the bloop appeared, the question wasn't irrational. What else exists down there that we still have not found? For more than a decade, the bloop became one of the most talked about unsolved mysteries of the ocean. Not because scientists believed in a monster, because they genuinely did not know what it was. Then, little by little, the picture began to change. As the NOAA hydrophone network expanded, and as scientists gathered more data about natural events in the polar regions, a pattern began to emerge. Ice, specifically Antarctic ice. When enormous ice shelves fracture, when colossal slabs, some larger than cities, crack and drag against the ocean floor or collide with other ice formations, they generate sound. An immense, violent, resonant sound. Cryosisms, essentially ice earthquakes. And when researchers compared the acoustic signature of the bloop with recordings of large ice fracture events, the similarity was striking. The rising quality, almost like a groan. The intensity, the way it traveled so far through the water. It fit. Around 2005, acoustic specialists at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration concluded that the bloop was, most likely, the sound of an ice fracture event, a massive rupture somewhere near the coast of Antarctica. Not a creature, not something waiting in the darkness. Ice breaking apart, under its own unbearable weight. And yet, this is where it becomes strange again. The bloop was not alone. Buried in the archives of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration are dozens of other unexplained ocean sounds, each one catalogued, each one recorded, each one at some point defying explanation. There is the Julia, recorded in 1999, another massive and mysterious signal, later also associated with ice activity. There is the Slow Down, a sound that lasted more than 7 minutes, gradually decreasing in frequency, whose origin is still debated. There is the Upsweep, a sound first detected in 1991 that rises in pitch and repeats seasonally, year after year, for decades, and whose exact source remains uncertain to this day. There is also the Whistle, recorded in 1997, almost at the same time as the bloop, with an origin never definitively confirmed. Think about that. In an ocean that covers more than 70% of our planet, in an environment more difficult to explore than the surface of the moon, there are still sounds that we cannot fully explain. We have mapped less than a quarter of the ocean floor in high resolution. We know the surface of the far side of the moon better than the bottom of the deepest ocean trenches on Earth. And the deep ocean itself is a place that seems designed to challenge belief. Down there, in the crushing darkness of the Mariana Trench, at depths exceeding 10,000 meters, the pressure is more than 1,000 times greater than at the surface, enough to crush a submarine like a soda can. And yet, there is life there. Life that evolved to survive conditions that should be, by any reasonable expectation, incompatible with survival. Creatures with translucent bodies, organisms that produce their own light, species discovered only in recent decades, in places humans have barely begun to explore. So when a sound like the bloop appears, unexplained, immense, seemingly organic, it is not irrational to wonder. It is the ocean reminding us, over and over again, how little we truly know about it. Today, the main scientific explanation for the bloop points to ice, not a monster, not something ancient and dormant, a natural, violent, physical process happening in one of the most remote and least observed regions on Earth. But that explanation does not completely erase the mystery, because sounds like the upsweep are still active, still being recorded, still, to this day, not fully explained with certainty. Because there are regions of the ocean floor that remain completely unmapped. Because for every mysterious sound we manage to explain, the hydrophones keep listening, and they keep finding new ones. Maybe the real mystery was never about what the bloop truly was. Maybe it is about what it revealed. That, beneath the surface of a planet we have inhabited for hundreds of thousands of years, there are still sounds rising from the darkness that we cannot name. That the ocean floor, closer to us than most of the places we call the frontier, continues to be one of the last true unknowns. And somewhere, right now, the hydrophones are still listening, still recording, still waiting for the next sound that should not exist. If this kind of mystery grips you the way it gripped us, stay close. The ocean is not finished revealing its secrets yet, and neither are we.